Hello everyone, my name is GordinRamsay, and I will have the pleasure of showing off what is undoubtedly the best Sonic game from 2013. Lost World is a pretty sick speedrun. It gave Sonic the ability to run on pretty much any surface in the game, and it copied Mario Galaxy with its level design, so levels are made up of a bunch of different planets, each with their own gravity, so we can do things like just send Sonic flying off in space, get pulled in at the last minute. It's got really cool movement and the typical jank you would expect from Sonic stuff. Joining me for commentary, we have the runner from about 5 minutes ago, Sly Sonic.
Hello, I'm the runner from about 5 minutes ago, Sly Sonic.
Yeah, there's a fair bit to go over in this run, but we have plenty of time to do it. I'll be explaining things as we go along, so let's delete my save data, have a quick countdown, and get right to it. 3, 2, 1, and go!
Ooh, yeah.
And start things off by skipping a cutscene. Thankfully, nothing fancy has to be done there, just mash the buttons. Now, Lost World is pretty unique in the Sonic franchise, and that is saying something. This is Sonic's most expansive moveset to date, by far. He has like 3 different kinds of spin dash. He has a multi-lock on homing attack. He has a flying kick. He has the bounce attack from Sonic Adventure 2. He has the drop dash. He has an entire parkour system, like I mentioned, letting you run on basically anything in the game, and that behaves differently between 3D and 2D, and that is just scratching the surface. You may notice as I grab these capsules, I get some animals. Lost World is divided into 7 worlds, with 4 stages in each world. To unlock the 4th stage, we will need a certain number of animals. Those small capsules give me 10 per, badniks give me between 1 and 21, depending on how many I kill in one homing attack, and large capsules at the end of certain levels give me 30. We're going to do most of our animal farming in the 3rd world, but just to make sure that we can actually get there, we do have to collect a few as we play through this first stage or 2. You can see my main form of movement is, of course, the spin dash. I can charge it with the left trigger, then rev it up to 3 times using the A and B buttons. Once I've fully revved it up, I can then hold down the left trigger once again to maintain my spin dash pretty much indefinitely. If I jump out of that, then hit the ground, Sonic will do a drop dash, which gives an extra burst of speed and locks in your speed for a little bit. That will come in handy for certain tricks later in the run. And it looks like I didn't successfully disable the DLC, so we lose a few seconds as that camera pans over.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's fine. Nothing too major.
DLCs are a very interesting part of the game. We'll get into why a bit later on. They change the routing quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll explain that when we do our animal farming. Now, okay, good, I got through there. It's very, very easy to take a hit and die. Now, you may have noticed the first stage was entirely 3D, and this one is entirely 2D. Lost World stages will either be fully 3D, fully 2D, or they'll alternate between the 2 modes throughout sections. It doesn't really dynamically change, unlike in Sonic Generations or Sonic Unleashed. At the end of every second world, we will have a short level followed by a boss fight. At the end of every 4th world, we will have a longer stage followed by a rematch against that boss. Zone 1 tends to be a nice open 3D adventure, and then Zone 3 is whatever the devs could think up to get out of the office on a Friday night.
Oh boy, did they think of things?
Oh, they did. Well, that's the first boss of the run, over and done with. Most Lost World bosses are a joke. They'll go down in about 2 hits total, just because, again, multi-lock on homing attack.
Yep, so we had a nice green and grassy area for the first 2 zones.
And now it's time for a cave.
It's just a cave.
Let's see how many I can get locked onto here. Oh, that's unfortunate. Only 12. If you lock onto every badnik there, you can get 21 animals. I will go out of my way to get a few extra combos. I'm used to getting at least 16 there. Okay, we're up to 22. That should be fine. Just spin dash in some bats. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, Lost World stages... Oh, that's unideal. Lost World stages are pretty tubular. They're kind of like planets. As you run through, the rotation will change, and that will open up new pathways. That does allow for some pretty interesting level design, but you won't see a ton of that within the main run. It's mostly used for collecting the optional red rings and whatnot. It does still play a role here. Like, as you can see, depending on how I've adjusted the level, these boulders will rotate in different ways, and I'll have access to a few different pathways. Go for a damage boost there. When you charge up the spin dash in Lost World, you cease to roll backwards, like slopes stop really having an effect on you. That doesn't come into play too often, but it does allow for some pretty insane tricks later in the run. Just gotta avoid the screen goo here, as you may have noticed earlier. If we spin dash in it, then we lose a ton of speed. Sonic just cannot go anywhere. Wait this out a little bit to get the right rotation on that boulder, and there's the end of the level.
Nice, very, very nice demonstration of that.
And now we have our first major trick of the run, Windy Hill 4. This is really precise. Remember how I said stages are either entirely 3D, 2D, or alternate between sections? Well, every section of a stage in Lost World is loaded at once, so I can abuse that to do... well, let's see if I get it. Okay, jumped a bit early. There's a hitbox above me, there's a kill plane below me, so I have about 4 frames to do a jump and go through them.
Ah, okay. This is a really, really precise trick. He is going to try and yeet himself across the galaxy. Will he do it?
Okay, I'm out of bounds.
It
We're
looks
not
good.
done yet, though.
Still a bit more to go. It looks good, though.
Land on that.
And there we go. It looks fine.
Okay, we're not quite out of the woods yet. So what I've just done is called 3D and 2D. Basically, I have kept 3D controls and property while in a 2D section. What this means is I move a lot faster than normal, but I also have full 3D controls, so I can very easily just run off the side of the stage. I think we'll be okay here, though. That's hit number 1. And let's get rid of Zaz for the rest of the game. Definitely not foreshadowing.
I think in that chase sequence there's a chance he can respawn, right?
Yeah, if you hit Zaz as you run through, for some reason, like half the time, he just vanishes.
Yep. Well, at least that didn't happen. I think you can either hit him and that will happen, or he can just do it randomly. But thankfully, he didn't do it randomly. We got it.
Yeah. Desert Ruins 1 doesn't have any major tricks, but what it does have is some really insane parkour movement. We haven't seen the parkour much, but we're going to see it here. This stage starts with a 3D section, then it will have an interior 2D section, then go back to outdoors 3D, indoors 2D, and then finish off with one more 3D. Now the way parkour works, while running on a wall, Sonic can jump off of it, kick off of it, spin dash to gain additional height and speed. 1 second. Got a little caught there. I'll give this one more try. There we go.
Oh.
And now we're spin dashing back up. And a few other things. When you kick off of a wall, you get an incredible burst of speed, but you also get a double jump. So what you can do there is double jump immediately after kicking off, and that will change the direction of your speed, and you can use that to hit a wall again and just keep parkouring. We won't see that in this stage. Any jumping between walls is just intended here, but that does come into play in certain sections, since it allows for infinite wall running. This darker colored sand will slow down my spin dash if I let Sonic keep dashing through it, but if I just jump to do a drop dash, that gets reset. Let's see if these guys are kind. It's a bit RNG. Hey, we got lucky. Alright, some more intense movement here. Spin dash up that. Now one thing you may notice is Lost World has a lot of hidden springs. It's not everybody's favorite form of level design, but it certainly helps a speedrun. If you know where to go, you can just breeze through stuff. Oh yeah, that's another quirk of wall running. As long as you grab a wall, you instantly get both of your jumps back. This is the main stage where it's useful, but it can be used for some backups throughout the run. Alright, these large cacti are on a global cycle, so depending on how fast or slow I go through the stage, I'll either have a really good cycle or something just awful. We had a pretty good start, but there are more at the end, and I'm not entirely sure what my cycle's going to look like there. Oh yeah, I also mentioned that there are a few forms of spin dash. You've seen the infinite, but if I let the spin dash run out a bit and then hold down LT again, I'll do this, which lets me just go over sand without losing any speed. And it looks like we have enough animals to unlock the last zone. Very cool. Last zone of this world, that is. We'll be there in just a moment. Okay, skips are back on the table. So if anybody's played Sonic 06, you may be aware of the Mach Speed sections, stages where Sonic is running at top speed and you cannot slow him down. Well, they brought him over to Lost World too, except they control a bit better. And also, we're not going to play it at all because this is Lost World. We're just going to go out of bounds and fly to the end. So I'm lining Sonic up very carefully here. And what I'm going to try to do... Okay, didn't quite get it there. That's fine. Sonic will just skydive back up and I can reset it. I'm grabbing onto the edge of a log. Okay, I've got to quit out. That gives me time to explain again. So basically how this trick works is... After the skydiving section, Sonic is supposed to hit one of those flowers and then just keep auto-running. But you can actually ledge grab the side of one of these logs and then do a jump to land on it normally. From there, you can do a tight spin dash jump to fly out of bounds, land on some invisible collision, and then pilot Sonic to the end of the stage. I'll focus as I try this.
Another important note is that these flowers act as checkpoints, so Gordon had to quit out of theirs just so he can try it again. And let's see if this will work.
This should be good. The out of bounds is actually pretty easy. So there are kill planes all around here, but I'm going to use some visual cues. Let's see. I'll bring the mouse on screen. I want to line Sonic up with this log, and just let him fall for a bit. Now you see this darker log off here? I'm going to wait till it's about halfway off screen, then start holding in. As I get close to the level, gravity will pick up and just zoom Sonic back in. Tap out for a second to make sure I have successfully avoided it. And here we go. Now I have to be very careful, because if I run into any of these walls, even though I'm not auto-running, it's an insta-kill. Use a drop dash there to bypass some of the skydiving, and I want to land on this ear, because when this boss starts, he's going to send us into another skydiving section. The game really likes it in this stage. But by landing down there, I don't go quite as high. There isn't much else to say about the rest of this boss fight. It's pretty straightforward. He lands, it tilts the head. We hit him once, we hit him again. GG. So if there's anything to read out, now's a pretty good time.
Wonderful, thank you very much. We have a $25 donation from Sooty Bunsen saying, just wanted to drop a donation during a Sonic game. Sonic 3 was the first video game I ever owned, and it's all been downhill since then. Good luck, GordinRamsay. I look forward to seeing you run Supersonic Galaxy.
I'm very curious as to how many donations will be Gordon Ramsay related.
See, that's why I chose the name.
So encourage people to donate to our wonderful cause.
Yes, exactly. Some call it clout chasing, I call it donation chasing. For charity.
And he's gone.
There we go. Zomom is dead, never to be seen again. Don't quote me on that.
Trust me, we don't need to look further than the third zone, where they just had a lot of fun.
Yes, exactly.
And it gives us a beautiful stage, Desert Ruins.
Welcome to Diabetes Zone. Alright, so thankfully we don't have to play this stage very long. Zone 2, or World 2, is like the most skip-heavy part of the entire game. I don't know why, but it's glorious. You see how these licorice bits kind of rotate as we run through them? Well, stages don't really update the rotation until you properly land. So if I do this right, it's pretty tight. Huh? I don't know if I get this or not. I've never had that happen before.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Okay, so how that works is, by doing the jump at just the right time, I will phase through the first licorice stick and land on the one behind it. Well, it looks like I phased through, but again, my best guess is because it's rotating, Sonic's just landing behind it. And then I'll do another jump to essentially do the same thing, dodge some kill planes, get to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like this, wait for 2 camera changes. And there we go. That's how that's supposed to work.
Yeah, that's the end of the level. There's no more level, trust me.
I couldn't tell you how to play that thing casually.
It's an experience, I can say that much.
Such an easy skip. Well, easy.
And we got enough animals. We are 4 animals overfarmed.
Yeah, we've got enough. We've got enough. And welcome to an auto-scroller, but since this is Sonic Lost World, there are, of course, ways to speed it up. So, the main way this thing works is this tornado's chasing us through most of the stage. Not all of it, but most. And as we play through, there will be invisible triggers, which will either speed up the tornado or slow it down. Now, if I move very carefully, I can just stay on the triggers that make this thing go zoom and get through it very quickly. We don't really know where those triggers are anymore. Lost World kind of had a complete community death shortly after it released.
Yeah,
So
you could say it's lost somewhere in the world.
Lost in the sauce. Sonic Lost Speedrun. So that's lost knowledge for now. It doesn't matter much anyway. I need to grab some additional lives because I did die a few times doing the Windy Hill 4 trick. Anyways, keep in mind that we can speed up or slow down the tornado because there is a major skip coming up soon, which will take advantage of that in a very extreme way. For now, we've got to use the drill.
Oh yeah, wisps are a thing in this game. I'm not really sure why they've been thrown into this game, but they are.
Lost World was built on top of Sonic Colors, which introduced the Wisp, so they're probably like, we already have the code for this, it's already set up, let's just put them in.
Yep, so the Wisps aren't necessarily useful except for a few areas. Obviously we had to use them to get through that area, but we're back to the tornado thing.
Yeah.
Wanna explain the speed thing?
Yes, I don't have long to do it, so I'll rush. The tornado does not infinitely go up or down. Levels always stay loaded, and I have an audio trick here, so let's see if I can stay off screen. Okay, I did that a bit early. Ooh, boy. Please.
Oh boy.
Go, Sonic! No,
Oh,
not there!
No! Oh wow, that was so close.
We tried. We'll do it once more. So, now that we have more time. Again, the tornado does not go infinitely up or down, so what I'm doing is I'm putting a wall between Sonic and the tornado, and then I'm doing the infinite wall run trick to just stay on that wall. The camera focuses on the tornado, and when I run up and grab the ledge of the wall, then jump... Oh, gosh! Apparently I shouldn't be speaking words. Do you want to cover this?
Yeah, so like Gordon already said, the tornado doesn't go all the way up and down, so Gordon is using a bunch of audio cues just to make sure he stays on that wall between him and the tornado. And if he does it just right, then the tornado can just keep going fast and just take it right to the end. Let's see if he can do it here. Is promising.
Okay, that is only part one of the trick. We have a much faster and much scarier one in just a second.
Baby.
There's our little buddy, and that should make it. There we go.
There we go. Success.
That is probably the last truly difficult trick in the run. There are quite a few other tricks still, but not much is on the level of that.
Hey, Zomom just drops a wisp for us to conveniently chase him, because why
Yeah,
not?
why not? Also, he can burrow through the ground for some reason.
It's never explained. All we know about him is he eats sandwich. Almost hit sandwich. Almost hit Sonic with sandwich.
Maybe he also eats the dirt. Maybe that's how he goes through.
Oh, true. No, we never really thought about it.
Anyways, this is essentially what I was doing off screen. By pressing X on a wall, I'll slow down Sonic's descent into madness.
Into madness, yeah, is the best way to describe it.
Yep. And there we go. That is Desert Ruins out of the way.
There we go. Now we're on to Tropical Jungle, and oh boy, we are gonna have a lot of fun in Tropical Jungle.
Tropical Jungle, Tropical Coast, a fun and exciting experience either way. It's fine, it's the 06 brain.
Yeah. Sorry, I run too much Sonic 06.
Yeah, same.
Alright, Tropical Coast.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, I said it.
Tropical Coast, not a lot to say about stage number 1. This is where we are going to get most of our animals out of the way. I hope I have enough lives to do it. If not, it's not a huge deal. I have some backup animal routes to do. But probably a good time to explain this. To unlock the last zone of the game, or at least in the main run, because there is a bonus zone that we don't play, I need around 1,800 animals. I currently have about 350. So I'm going to use death strats until I have 1,200 animals on the in-level counter. When you take a death, your animals do not reset, but any capsules you used will respawn. And Tropical Coast just so happens to have a checkpoint right here, right next to like 11 capsules. So what we're going to do is just jump on all of these.
Zoom through here.
Yep, spin dash, a little bit of movement. Very fun, very exciting. And then go over to a crab and meet our end. Some enemies in Lost World require a kick before you can homing attack them. In the case of the crab, it will just instantly retaliate with damage if you try to homing attack into it, which actually works out really well because as long as we avoid rings, we can die exceptionally quickly.
Yep, so one thing to note, like we mentioned earlier, there are some DLC strats, but they are kind of locked to the Wii U version. There's a bit of copyright issue or something that didn't bring them to the PC. Gordon can explain it a lot better.
Yeah, so the Wii U version of the game, which is where this game originally released, the PC port came out like a year or two after, had 3 DLCs. It had a Night's Zone, which did come to Steam, and is kind of a boss rush. It had a Yoshi's Island DLC, which has an incredible trailer, please look it up if you ever have free time. And it had a Legend of Zelda DLC based on Skyward Sword, I believe. And the Zelda DLC is insane for grinding animals. Wii U has higher animal recs in general. It takes around 5,000 to unlock the final boss. Thankfully, they nerfed it for PC. But the Zelda Zone just gives you so many animals so insanely quickly that it's actually faster to grind all of them on Zelda, like on Wii U, than it is to do Tropical Coast. We do, there has been a restoration mod for the Zelda DLC on PC, and we do allow that in runs, with the caveat that you also install a mod which increases animal recs to match Wii U, just so that there's some form of parity between the two. The main Lost World run, Darkspine Sonic's 2014 run at GDQ, I want to say, has, it was run on Wii U, so that shows off the Zelda one. It's a lot easier to set up on PC without it, so I figured, yeah, I'd show this off. It's not too much slower.
So the Wii U has a much slower loads than PC, but that animal farming actually makes up quite a bit. I think it is still slower, but
yeah,
not by much, and with the animal grinding.
Wii U's still 3-ish minutes slower, I think. Animal grinding does help though.
Yeah, I think if we had the same requirements, it would be... How much do you think it would be?
If we didn't change Rex?
Yeah.
PC would be done with animal grinding in under 2 minutes.
It's pretty crazy.
As is, it takes about 3 or 4.
So there's not much else to go over. Do we have anything we want to talk about?
Of course. So, let's remember why we are all here. We are here to raise money for Save the Children. Today, 1 in 5 children across the globe lives in a conflict zone. Let's do something together to change their lives for the better by donating to Save the Children and their cause to ensure children's rights are protected even in times of war. 150 days have gone by since the war in Ukraine started. Save the Children works both in Ukraine and all over Europe, where Ukrainians have had to take refuge. Save the Children have been in Ukraine since 2014 and will continue to be there to help rebuild long after the war ends. During the war, they assist with evacuations, delivering supplies, and setting up child-safe zones. In the first 100 days of the war, Save the Children reached 210,000 people, out of which 122,000 were children. So they're doing a lot during the current crises in Ukraine, and of course they've also been doing quite a lot in the whole COVID pandemic, and so on and so on. They're around the world in over 120 countries, so they're doing a lot with the money that you're donating. So please do keep on donating to help them out.
Alright, so one thing you might have noticed, if you looked a little closely when Gordon died there was a little power-up. That's the wing power-up. Welcome to any % Wingless. Any % is a very interesting category that heavily abuses the wing ability to just walk to the next checkpoint, I believe, or to the end.
Whenever you die 5 times in a row, or if you hit 0 lives at any point, a wing will appear, which will usually warp you to the next checkpoint, sometimes a little farther. So the any percent run keeps the life count as low as possible and just blazes through every single stage with death strats. You may have noticed a second ago that I was spin dashing on these clouds. I actually stopped my animal grind a little early, just so that I could go for that trick. Basically, there's a small window where I could do a bounce stack, cancel it into a spin dash, and actually spin dash across the clouds, grab onto the ledge of them, because for some reason you can do that, and then cancel a ledge jump into another spin dash, and just repeat that to go through the entire thing. There is a bit of a risk of death. It's not a terribly hard trick, but it is pretty precise. So I may need to farm some extra animals, but it won't take more than like 10 seconds. Alright, and we're on to Tropical Coast 2, where we will see the second of our Wisp friends, this time the rocket, used to skip pretty much the entire stage. Let's see, just climb up here. Alright. You see that platform in the sky? I actually want to aim away from it. The farther away I aim, the more time I have to do this. Just fly to the end. And do a little bit of spin dashing, and then we'll be on to our third boss, the Fruit Ninja.
The Fruit Ninja himself.
Yes, my least favorite boss in the entire game. You'll see why soon. Not in this stage, though. This stage is easy. Alright, here's Zik. So the gimmick here is we've got to move his fruit into a blender.
And dice him.
Yep, pretty much. Somehow he actually lives being blended, but, you know, he can't live a homing attack, thankfully. Now, fun fact about this juice, if you hold down the run button, you actually go like 50 times as fast as if you had just let Sonic play through it. I don't know why they do that, but who would have thought if you press down the run button, you go fast. And there we go. That's Zik over and done with. Now on to Tropical Coast 3, which has one of the more iconic songs from Lost World. Lost World's a bit of a mixed bag with music. It's got some pretty nice tunes though, and Sea Bottom Segway is one that is very well loved. Now the stage may seem kind of on rails, but it's surprisingly one of the more stressful runs in the game. So the way rails work in Lost World, while on them, you can jump and then hold forward to speed Sonic up, or hold back to slow him down. There are also different colored rails. Gray is neutral, red slows you down, green speeds you up, and if I hit a dash panel, I want to just keep that speed for as long as possible. Let's see. Okay, I think I got it. So, these rail grinding stages are some of the few that actually dynamically shift between 3D and 2D, which means they are also prime suspects for getting 3D and 2D tricks, which I've done there. I jumped around the trigger that would set me in 2D, and that means Sonic just got to go through that way faster than normal, didn't even have to jump and hold forward. You can do that to go at hyperspeed, but you have to hold forward relative to Sonic, and the camera's at a little bit of a weird angle, so it's very easy to just mess up the angle you're holding and fly off into the Z-axis and die.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing that Gordon actually keeps control of the Z-axis when he's in 3D and 2D. It makes it very easy to fall off these rails, so let's see.
Oh, that trick is hard.
Oh boy.
That was another gimmick of transitioning from 3D into 2D. I don't have 3D properties currently, but by doing a jump there, I get a crazy amount of height and got to keep 3D until I hit the ground. And so that's what let me sail over all of those doors. The difficult part of that trick is there's a kill plane above you, and every time you tap the jump button, you go really stinking high. So, very easy to jump too high and meet your demise. Thankfully, you always hit a checkpoint there, so it's not a risky trick to go for. And here we go. Okay, it's pretty much just rail grinding from here, so if we have a quick donation or anything else to fit in, now's a good time.
Oh, we have a $100 donation from Zero Mana saying, "Yeehaw!" That one going towards the Western costume for Uncharted, which is now in the lead with $155.
Yes!
The pirate are being behind with just 140, so $15 lead for the Western costume. If anyone wants to be a pirate, then it's more than $15 to change that. And if you want Western to win, now's your chance to increase the lead.
Alright, this is my least favorite stage in the run. So, I have to do a series of blind rocket shots to just skip through this section, essentially. And there are, I say blind, but there are like some camera lineups you can use. This is not a great one.
See?
Okay, slightly off. It's fine. It's quick to retry, it's just really annoying. This should be good. Okay, yeah, this looks way, way better.
If I remember correctly, you have to use like the Wii U gamepad to move this around.
Yeah.
It's a really fun experience casually.
If you're
and by fun, I mean, no, not fun.
It's not as bad as 3DS and their special stages with gyroscopic controls. But yeah, let's see, this should dodge the kill plane.
Or not.
I have great timing. Thank you. Let's see. That should be good. This is, even with the deaths, it's still way, way, way faster than trying to play through this thing normally.
Yep.
It's also really unfortunate because if you run out of rocket and hit a balloon, you just get a ring. It gives you one ring. It doesn't actually set you back in one of these, let's see, let's go for it there. That should be better. There we go.
Way.
Yeah, it doesn't set you in a cannon, it just gives you one ring. It's like, ah, there you go, now back to the stage with you. Anyways, that's the hard part of this level over and done with. Thank you, Butterfly. The load zone isn't actually active until you grab those guys, so unfortunately we can't just pilot Sonic into it early.
If only.
If only. This level is a little painful on the eyes and on the brain. So Lost World will occasionally just flex, I don't know, its unique gravity code, and make a stage which is essentially a circle. It just keeps looping in on itself. And that can be very cool, but if you're going fast, it can also be very, very disorienting. Okay, there we go. Just jump through the loop a little bit early. A nice thing in Lost World is if you hit an enemy while you have 0 rings, or rather if you kill one while you have 0, it will give you 1 ring. So that can be used to avoid death in a few situations. Let's jump over there, and here we go. 3. Now these spheres are kind of the bane of my existence. Spheres in Lost World can be used to go very, very quickly if you jump at the right time on them, but they can also really mess up your movement. They can just spike you into the ground, they can send you flying directly upwards, they can slow your speed to a crawl. They're really Pandora's box, and I prefer not to open them. That said, it would be pretty funny if I did it off of these. And got it.
Awesome.
Now time for the reason why I hate Zik. Welcome to the first boss fight with significant iframes, invincibility frames. Zik is going to surround himself in mechanical fruit. Fun little lore bit. The Zeti, which are what these guys are called, have the ability to manipulate electricity, which is why they can control Eggman's mechs, and why everything they pilot is mechanical. But anyways, if I don't hit him fast enough after he surrounds himself in fruit, he gains like 5 years of invincibility.
So we have to be really quick on this.
Let's see.
And
Looking for a balloon. There we go. Sometimes you can find the planet and just skip the extra balloons, but it's not that much faster. So if I see a balloon, I'll just take it. And there we go.
he's done.
He will never show up ever again. Don't quote me.
He's never. No, never.
No, never again.
They are the Deadly Six. That must mean there are 6 levels.
And
Right?
that must mean that they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
No need to worry about them. Instead, here we are on to the next set of stages, Frozen Factory.
Yep, Lost World doesn't have traditional water levels, but you better believe they have ice physics. It's actually surprisingly decent in Lost World. The way ice works is, while you're on it, if you hold down the run button, Sonic will start skating, and if you jump out of a skate, he'll do a pirouette, which locks in his speed, and you also can't, like, homing attack out of that or anything. However, at any moment, you can just release the run button and go back to doing a regular jump. There isn't any additional, like, inertia on it. It's very, very nice. We'll see that more in later stages, though. We have some more clouds here. You can actually parkour from the beginning here, but doing it all the way through is ridiculously difficult. So what I'm going to do instead is play it in baby mode for the beginning, and then try to take some damage. Please hit me. Please hit me. Please hit me. Please, I believe. Yes,
Yay.
thank you. And these guys can sometimes kill you, but we got lucky. Do a drop dash there, and let's get pulled in by the planet. There we go.
Very nice.
That's Frozen Factory pretty much over and done with. I'm going to try to do some fancy parkour to skip a little bit more. We'll see how that goes. And there we go.
Speed.
Not a terribly long stage. Lost World's pretty fun to play because like individual stages have really tight movement or some really cool skips, but they don't go on for too long. You've got a nice mix of like 40-second ILs and some that can stretch on for a few minutes. Speaking of a few minutes, welcome to Frozen Factory 2. Lost World is usually good about justifying its gimmicks. This is the one stage where it is not.
Oh boy.
We are playing as a snowball.
Yep. This is one of the most exciting stages.
Yep, our controls are we can hold down the right trigger to go kinda fast, we can sort of spin dash, we can press Y to stop ourselves, sometimes, and we can jump. And that's about it. We do want to avoid hitting all of these billiard balls in. If you get all 8, you will get a red ring, which will play a decently lengthy animation when you get off the table. So, we're good to hit in like 7 out of 8, but just gotta avoid 8 out of 8. These little yetis can be a blessing or a curse. We're going to avoid them as much as we can. They essentially act like springs. If you hit one, it's supposed to send you into another, which sends you into another, and so on, and it just gets you to the end. It's kind of slow, but it's automation. It's easy. Except for when the automation breaks and just sends you to your death anyways. There's only one instance where that's really prevalent, so we'll see if we get lucky or not. Aside from that, risk of death in this stage is pretty low. 1 cycle? Aw, dang it. 2 cycle Terry.
By the way, Pearhead is playing Project Zomboid.
I don't know who that is. Yet somehow they're on my friends list. Alright, let's see. I could go for another spin dash here, but it's kind of risky, so I'll just play through. Those chickens can be kind of annoying. When they blow their gusts of wind, that can send you horribly off track, but thankfully you can just press the Y button to come to a complete stop if needed. Yeah, not a ton going on in this stage. There is some speed tech, but it's so ridiculously precise that it's nowhere near safe for a full run. Okay, the Yeti knockers were kind to us.
Very nice.
And time for the one where they can really screw us over. I want to hit this one on the right. He didn't kill us! Let's go!
Let's go!
Hardest part of the run right there, over and done with.
That
Very
is surprisingly difficult. To just get like the Yetis to bonk you in the right direction.
Yeah, like
You can imagine it's horrible as a snowball.
you can kind of save yourself sometimes. Okay, we almost died there. Sometimes you can save yourself, but it's ridiculously hard. Whenever you hit one, it's just kind of hope things work out. Yeah, forget following that path, I'm just gonna jump. And let's see. Quick spin dash through here, get through those guys. They just fly into the air, don't worry about physics. Sorry, it's important to let Xena speak. She has very insightful words.
Yes, very.
Speaking of Xena, this is, I think, the only boss in the game that can't kill you. And I don't mean that like, haha, nobody should ever die to Xena, that would be embarrassing. I mean literally, you cannot take damage in this fight.
Yep.
Note that they give you a checkpoint right before this fight. That checkpoint's important, if you're playing casually, because what this fight tries to do is time you out. She'll spawn in a bunch of these snowmen, and you have to hope you have enough speed to run through them, and you also have to hope that you don't hit any of these bombs. Okay, I was hoping that that was the last one. It's hard to tell what the pattern is. If you hit one of the bombs, then the entire cycle resets, and you get a whole new snowman pattern. Yay, this should be safe. There we go.
And that's pretty much the entire fight. It's just no way to die.
Yep, no way to die except for timeout. And because of how the snowball controls, like, by the time you see a bomb is coming up, you can't react to it. You just have to hold that L. Let's see, there should only be, like, one more, but I am going to play that as safe as I can. Nope. Okay. There we go.
And she's gone.
She actually takes off running on the last hit, so sometimes you have to chase her down, but we got lucky.
And there's Sonic the Snowball.
Sonic the Snowball. Yep, like I said, that gimmick will never show up again. As far as I know, it's not even in the bonus stages.
Thank goodness.
Alright, time for everyone's favorite feature of Sonic games, a little bit of gambling. I doubt that we have channel point predictions enabled, but you know, you can do it in spirit.
Yep.
So Frozen Factory, what would the factory be good for if it weren't for a casino? And what would a casino level be good for if it weren't for RNG? Welcome to kind of RNG, kind of physics-based stuff. We have to get enough points to... Oh my gosh, that was fast.
Wow.
What?
Whoa.
Huh? Okay, good. We recovered it. If you go in the center, it should be guaranteed that you get dropped straight down into where you need to go.
Apparently not.
Is it cliche to say that's never happened before? I mean, I've already used my 1 for this run, but do I get 2?
Yeah, I'll allow it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
cool.
Say it.
Well, I just did. I might need a 3rd, though. We'll see.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting, the slot mechanics and stuff.
There is a second pinball table, but thankfully it's optional. Yeah, that level should be a lot more interesting than it is. I think casually it's pretty good because there's a lot to run around and explore. You get little, like, poker chips, and then you can go into holes to cash them out and get red rings. But in a speedrun, you know, you just run to the end, and it's GG. Okay, now for some more ice physics. This stage is a little interesting. It's another mix of 3D and 2D, but the 2D sections are way more fun, as you'll see. Whenever I pirouette and hit something, Sonic will jump into the air. I can extend how high he goes by continuing to hold down the A button. And let's see if I can get a kind of precise jump over here. Also, I can't spin dash on ice. Oh, I missed the dash panel entirely. That's fun. And exciting. Movement, let's go!
Ooh.
Yeah, there we go.
Beautiful.
Okay, onto a 3D section. Now, there is some movement tech with the ice skating. If you get a huge burst of speed, like off of dash panels or something, you can actually do a jump, and then the frame you hit the ground, do another jump, and that will preserve it. This is very hard to do, and if you mess it up, you seem to go a lot slower than normal, so it's not something I usually bother with, but in ILs it can let you just absolutely blaze through these sections. Also, these boulders are by far the hardest to avoid in the game. They have insanely good tracking.
Right, feel that?
We'll only see them like one more time though, it's fine. Break through the ice. And wait out the cycle, there we go. You can go behind these crushers, but for some reason, if you go behind them, there's a good chance you still get crushed anyways. And back to 3D.
Hey.
Just one more 3D section for this level. I want to wait and let that go off the edge, or at least get pretty close to it. Jump over those springs when and where possible, just a little bit faster. And here we go. Yeah, Frozen Factory is a pretty neat world, but you'll see a stage pretty soon which will make you think, wait, didn't we just play the ice level? So fun fact about Lost World, we know from looking at some leftover dev comments and from looking at the... What?
Oh, there he goes.
Thank you, Lost World. And from looking at the developer stage select, that the level order for stages in this game is actually way different from what they originally intended. If I recall correctly, they meant to have about 6 stages for each world, and then like a challenge stage for each, and some extra stages for each, and a lot of other stuff. This game does not have that many levels, so what they ended up doing is kind of throwing stuff together, rearranging the order, and that's why you'll end up with like just ice levels thrown in out of nowhere, or levels that look like they belong in the first world over in the 6th. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Just a little bit of pirouette there, and we're on to the boss. Now, Xena 2 is interesting because she's the only boss in the game with an actual, like, strategy that you have to employ. I can't just fully charge the homing attack 2 times and have at it, because she'll have iframes. So what I want to do is get that, and now I need to quickly full charge. That should do it. Ah, 1 hit off. Okay, now we just have to wait this out, and there we go. There's the last hit.
And she's gone, right?
Yep, she's gone. She's never coming back ever again. I promise. Don't quote me on that. Oh, skip past the cutscene.
Yeah, there's some cutscene about them teaming up and Tails is angry. I don't remember this game.
Tails is very angry in this game. Sonic's like, hey, I'll team up with Eggman. Tails is like, I can't believe you would betray our friendship.
It's like that, the Wojak meme.
Yeah. Truly. Alright, on to Silent Forest, one of the more visually interesting levels in this run. And unfortunately, this forest aesthetic only really gets used for 1 or 2 stages. But Silent Forest 1 is home to a pretty interesting skip. Remember how I said when you're spin dashing, you don't really slide down slopes? Yeah, we're going to abuse that to climb up a tree. In just a moment. These spiders have to be dealt a flying kick before we can homing attack them, otherwise they'll just spin around and deal some damage. Go over here, actually make use of that gravity mechanic. And okay, it's tree climbing time. So we have another section of spiders, but this time they automatically spin around, and it's very slow to deal with them. So what I'm going to do is charge a spin dash, then immediately jump out of it, and if I do that right, I can go high enough on this tree, line Sonic up just right, and that should be enough. There we go.
Yeah.
Planet skipped. The combat there is very, very lengthy. So if you can get the tree climb quickly, you're good. Also, I'm just going to grab these just to make sure I have enough animals. I think I'd be fine otherwise, but, you know.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. Snap onto the rail, and let's have a little bit of infinite parkour once again. Like I said, parkour is a bit different between 3D and 2D. Main difference is just if you're in 3D, you can infinitely parkour horizontally. If you're in 2D, vertically. And there we go. Silent Forest 1.
Right, on to Silent Forest 2.
Yeah, this is maybe my favorite stage in the run. The 2D sections in 3D Sonic games tend to get a lot of flack, but I actually really like them in Lost World. They're kind of like puzzles, especially with, you know, the drop dash and whatnot, and how easy it is to charge up a spin dash. In stages like this, it's a puzzle of figuring out when do I need to jump, where, when do I need to hold back, yada yada yada, to keep my drop dash and spin dash going as long as possible. We have some more circles or spheres at play, but oh, okay, apparently we didn't go far enough. Man. Hey, what do you know? There's a checkpoint right there, so it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. Anyways, there are circles and spheres again, but they have a much lower risk of killing us. So, that's pretty nice. Jump over those plants. If we hit one of them, Sonic will kind of fly up into the air. You may have noticed we also have a unique wisp. This one is called Rhythm, and we are not going to use it in this stage. It does actually have 1 use in the entire run, believe it or not, but we'll see that in a bit. There we go. Jump over here. Now, this owl in the background is going to turn into a searchlight in a moment. If it finds us, we die. It's just an insta-kill, nothing we can do about it. However, if you are crouching or rolling in this game, not spin dashing, but crouching or rolling, for whatever reason, the owl cannot detect you. Ah, okay, I tried to jump over it. Sometimes the game just eats your jump input. That's fine.
Like good games do.
Yes, yes, as any good game would. We'll do that up here, though, so that it cannot detect us. Drop dash past there. The way it searches is kind of weird. So sometimes you can just land here and spin dash to make it through just fine. Usually it's safer to do a roll, though. And it could get a little dicey here, but I think we'll be fine. 1, 2, jump up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I hope this is fine.
Let's see.
And there we go.
Right.
Now it's time to fight Depressy the Zeddy.
Yeah.
He will not directly attack us. Instead, what we have to do is jump up here, flying kick, and knock him off the owl. Now, it takes 2 hits from now on to knock him off, but I'm actually going to wait until he fires 3 of these. Just makes things a little bit easier. Let's get over here, jump up, flying kick. Flying kick. And this should be a pretty good Zor fight. Let's see if I can get over to this last one in time. 1, 2, 3. He also has a weirdly high amount of iframes after you hit him, but okay, looks like we got through it just fine. Well, there we go.
Just fine.
Just style on whose remains, he's never coming back.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone.
Okay, I might be lying. He's back.
No, he's gone. He's lost in the world, never coming back.
Never. Here's the gimmick stage.
Yep, welcome to the gimmick stage. You remember Windy Hill 3? It's back! And now it has ice.
Everyone's favorite mechanic, the cave and the ice.
The Cave of Ice. Indeed. This one plays with the physics a little bit more, so it gets a pass, I think. It's a pretty chill stage to play through. Kinda cool. I also really like how you deal with the boulders in this one. They don't have good tracking, so what you want to do is just get them rolling in one direction, and then flip gravity the other way, and they can't home in on you. It's pretty simple, but just figuring out little bits and pieces that run like that. Oh, Sonic, where are you going? Figuring out little things like that is really satisfying.
It's a little detour.
Fly into the air. Alright, we've got a little robotic chicken over here. I'm just gonna spin dash underneath him, as you do. And it is best to avoid these dash panels here, just a little bit faster. And hopefully we avoid all of the boulders. Kinda played a little loose. Hey, Pearhead's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Dodge the spiders. They'll pretty much go straight down from where they were. And you may notice the laser wisp. Don't worry, the best wisp in the game is actually going to get used. Laser wisp will also be used too, don't worry.
Okay. I was gonna say, that's a bit of a hot take.
I know. Rhythm wisp enjoyers are plentiful. Let's see. There we go. That will just rotate them all correctly. Sometimes if you do that jump, for whatever reason, they'll stick to the ceiling and not come down at all. But it's not a huge deal if they don't.
Zoom.
Okay, there we go. Almost there. Rest of the stage is pretty straightforward, so if we have anything we'd like to say.
Of course I do. I do want to remind everyone that with your donations, you will be entered into our prize drawings. We have some wonderful prizes that you can win, reaching from a metal poster from for Hades for a minimum donation of $20, a blue shell plush for a minimum donation of $20, a Shantae plush for the same amount, a ukulele plush set, also $20 minimum donation. So if you want any of those prizes or some pins for $15 minimum donation, all of that can be yours. Well, if you win and if you donate before that. So get your donations in. You will help save the children. You may win some awesome prizes. So it's a win-win for everyone.
And here we go. Yes, be sure to get those donations in. Okay, should make it past that. Okay, good. This stage is probably the hardest one to learn in the run. I don't think it's the hardest level in the run, but learning it is very difficult. Those little Easter Island heads are an insta-kill. If you make any contact with them whatsoever while they are moving, it does not matter if they are going down or going up, you will die. And they can open up or close off certain routes, so it can be a little tricky to go through. The Drill Wisp makes another return. We're going to do a little bit of a skip here. You're meant to hit those 3 pulsating orbs, but for these first 2, we can actually just go past them. Now, the Drill Wisp will speed up if you hold down the run button, but that makes it a lot harder to maneuver, so I'm actually letting go of it the moment before I run into one of these to get a much tighter recoil. Now, sometimes that doesn't work out, but, you know, it generally helps.
It works out most of the time.
Yeah.
This is just the sometime.
You also, while you're in a Wisp form, you cannot get killed by direct damage, which is very useful. Okay, here we go. Just jump over that guy. Hallelujah, that worked. And on to what is potentially a very interesting skip. So you may have noticed throughout the levels that there are these little spider enemies. Like over there. If you get caught by one, it'll just tick you in its claws, and then you have to mash buttons to escape. Now, while it's wiggling you around, it's actually rotating Sonic between the foreground and background. So if we mash out and then do a bounce stack immediately at just the right moment, the game gets confused about what layer Sonic is on. And this is one of those stages that's designed as a circle, so it's just looping back in on itself. So if we do this right, it's very finicky, but it's very cool if you get it. Sonic will just fly through the floor, go straight to the end.
Let's see.
I'll give this like 10 more tries since they're fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe, 6,
Come on, got this.
7.
Got this, Gordon.
I'm glad I'm not donating dollars for every missed attempt. 8, 9.
Alright, this one for sure.
Ending on 10 is a bad number. Okay, no luck. Unfortunate. But that just means we get to play through the Donkey Kong Country aesthetic a little bit more. Which is always a good thing, don't you know? Get that checkpoint. And, well, it doesn't save that much time, that's where it would have taken us, but it looks cool, and that's what matters. It's not that slow to miss it, so we're good. A little bit of infinite parkour coming up here yet again. Thankfully, if you get hit by that, you are free to just grab onto the wall once more. And here we go. Jump up here. The movement in Lost World is really stinking satisfying. I mentioned it before, but this game has such a nice blend of just big tricks followed by really precise movement. And plenty of invisible springs. Alright, on to Zor 2. Now, Zor, as is tradition, has pretty much no way to directly damage you. You can technically die here, unlike Xena, but the way this works is I turn on the lights, I wait for my homing attack to work, and he's dead.
Oh, there he goes.
Yep. The only way you die in this fight is if he ricochets into the block where you're going to land. I've almost had it happen.
Shoutouts to the 3DS version of that fight. It is horrible. You have to use the gyro to try and find the right owl and hope you get it right. Especially when you have the capture card, you have the cable as well. It's hard to turn. It's stressful. Anyways, here's Sky Road.
Yeah, a stage that was actually meant to be in World 1, as you might have guessed from the aesthetic. I think this was meant to be like World 1-4, and then the 1-4 we ended up getting was meant to be 1-6. Anyways, we're going to use Drop Dash, locking in your momentum. Hopefully. I've avoided the skydiving trigger. Now, I'm trying to get close enough to that planet to get pulled in by gravity, and there we go. That skipped a very lengthy combat encounter. Now, we're stuck in auto running again. It actually controls pretty well, don't have too many complaints. And it also lets us kill the animals. We've done plenty of time saving them, now it's time to exterminate the bees. This is just a good opportunity to top up your animal count. Whenever you homing attack the bees, it guarantees that you get over these gaps. So, you know, they don't die in vain. And we've got another trick coming up in just a second with another Lost World specific wisp, the Eagle. The way this works is when you activate it, it will launch you into the air, and then you can press the A button to do a little dash and fly forward pretty quickly. I don't know why you would normally use it, but in Speedrun, it's pretty useful for this. Oh my gosh, it sent me too low. Not again! Sometimes you can hit a height cap. I'm not really sure what causes it. It doesn't send you too far back, though, and it's decently uncommon. We're being blessed with the run of all time in this lovely graveyard shift, at any rate.
Yep.
And some lovely frame drops. That's just a Lost World thing, by the way. For some reason, this game likes to lag.
Alright, awesome. We made it.
Yes. It makes me sad that people will never know the true pain of those sheep.
Yep.
Whenever you're learning this game, those sheep are the bane of any new runner's existence, because if you run into them, they act as springs. And usually they just stand still and mind their own business, so you hit one, it's like, man, I messed that up, and it's time loss, and it just doesn't feel good. But in this stage, they actively hunt you down. This is our turtle friend. He fires some nice missiles at us, and we just send them right back at him. And I believe the spring will appear here. Little far off. Nothing too bad, though. Another auto-running section, and then we'll be to the end. But this one is a little scarier. See, we would have killed these giant, like, pinkish caterpillars earlier in the stage if we didn't do that drop dash skip. But, unfortunately, we cannot avoid them entirely. They will show up here. And if you don't keep close track of Sonic, it is very easy to get hit and die. Hey, there are the bees. Take them down.
Not the bees.
Not the bees! I can't believe the developers have done this. And there we go.
Right.
Hey, we have enough animals to unlock the final world. I can't believe it.
Hey, this is the final. This is the final world, right?
Ah, yes, definitely, definitely. Except for the next one.
All right, Sky Road Zone 2.
Sky Road Zone 2. This is one of the harder stages in the run. It is drop dash central, except it's drop dash off of like these circular platforms, and also some of them are invisible.
Doing really precise drop dashes here, just to land on these dragons as soon as you possibly can, just so...
Get as much height as I would like. Now,
So-
some are going to come out of the side here. That should be able to make it. Okay, we're good.
Nice.
There's another bit in just a second. This movement's a lot harder, but I think we'll be good.
See it.
Yeah, I just want to play that safe. And there we go. Now it's time to fight Bowser himself. I mean, Zavik himself.
That was a beautiful Zone 2.
Thank you.
It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, that stage is going to go wrong so easily. Like, it's nice, it's short, and if you mess it up, you will want to tear your hair out. The way this fight is supposed to work is you hit the tail, and then you slowly homing attack your way up the length of the dragon, then you deal one hit to Zavik, and you repeat. The way this fight actually works is the tail doesn't move fast enough, so you just charge up your homing attack, fail to charge it up enough, go back, successfully do it, bounce attack up here, show off the mechanic where you homing attack up the back, hit Zavik, and then the fight is over and done with.
Yeah, that's the last we'll see of him.
Well, no, we still have the rematch.
Ah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then that's the last we'll ever see of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Bowser comparison will it'll never make sense, you know, because he's never showing back up.
Of course not. Of course not.
Of course, of course. And now for what is undoubtedly the stage of all time.
The stage.
Welcome to a competitive auto-scroller. You see that little bit of movement at the beginning? Yeah, that's about the only place you can save time. That and the boss fight that they threw in at the end. This is something like... I don't know how long. I think it's a minute or two. If I press the A button, I kill enemies. If I don't press the A button, I take damage. I can't fly off the top. I can fly off the bottom. And I can go left or right, but it doesn't matter. So, if we have any donations, this is an excellent time to do that, or just anything else we want to shout out.
Those were just the words I was hoping to hear. We have a $20 donation from username Neil saying, you know what? This game looks pretty nice. Good on you, Sonic. So yeah, this game does look very nice, despite the auto-scroller.
It's very cool, I promise.
So yeah, thank you very much for that donation. And with those $20, you've just helped providing 2 mothers with children fleeing the war with food for to last a week. So thank you very much for that.
You'll love to hear it.
I remember playing this level casually for the very first time. I beat it. I said, wow, that was really fun. This was really, really fun. I never want to do this again.
Remember how I mentioned that they just kind of threw levels together to make the final stage order? Yeah, this is the only stage out of the main ones that they actually intended for Sky Road. The first one borrowed from Windy Hill, the second was meant for Silent Forest, so the previous world. This one was meant for Sky Road, and then the last was meant for Desert Ruins. Slight spoilers. I don't know why there are rockets, and I really don't know why their flame turtles can't hurt us, but I'm not complaining too much. If you die in this stage, which is possible, it is like the biggest walk of shame, or should I say skydive of shame, back through it. Alright, that boss fight that I mentioned is coming up right here against a giant enemy crab, pufferfish. And there we go, I can't believe we beat it.
Whoa.
Hardest fight in the game.
Final boss.
Yeah!
Woo! Oh, are you gonna run out of time?
No.
Aww.
It's funny though, it looks like you just have to hit 3 missiles, but no, you have to hit specific missiles. If you miss the third one, the next like 2 or 3 won't actually fire back into him. They'll go back, but it'll just juke past him. So, thankfully we got the quote-unquote quick kill.
Oh, Pearhead's back.
Ah, yes, let's go Pearhead. Alright, see a little bit of the bounce attack there. You can bounce up to 3 times, and then the third one gives you a little bit more height than a jump plus double jump, so it's pretty useful. Alright, infinite parkour our way up here and hit some hidden springs. This stage is pretty heavy on the 2D parkour movement. Oh my gosh! Homing attack coming in clutch.
Impressive save.
Yeah.
Alright, now
SA2 ghosts. Oh yeah, notice the rhythm wisp? This is finally its time to shine, and by finally I mean right after this 3D section. Thank you for giving me damage, game.
Yep, beautiful damage.
The sand slide can be kind of hard to control if you hold forward, so I prefer just tapping left and right. Again, the game's never going to explain this, you just kind of have to trial and error it out. Unfortunately, that's the way for a lot of this game's mechanics. I think it gets a bit too much flack, but it's also understandable. They made, like, the most in-depth movement system for a Sonic game. Seriously, I'm not even using, like, everything that's available here. And then they explained none of it. And they also didn't, you know, require you to use any of it. Like in that casino stage, just go straight to the end. Anyway, Rhythm Wisp. So this is supposed to be a screen wrap, but the Rhythm Wisp doesn't really care about that, so we're just gonna go out of bounds and fly to the end.
And we get a nice, pleasant tune.
Yeah. That tune ends in a few seconds, sadly. Let's see. Okay, I was far enough out. I'm going to look for a horizontal line, saw it, and then hold back in bounds, and there we go. That's the section skipped.
Beautiful.
Back to more sand sliding, this time with slightly higher stakes. Those little cacti coming at us, they will deal damage. Usually we can ignore them, but unfortunately they do set up for an insta-kill at the very end of the section. Lost World's usually good about avoiding insta-kills, like, but it does have a few of them. Not much of a way to speed up the sand slide either, unfortunately. Though, fun fact, due to every section of the level being loaded at the same time, they're also placed very near each other, so it's almost possible to just skip these entirely, and we dodge the insta-kill. Like, instead of going out of bounds where we did with the Rhythm Wisp, if we could just go out of bounds at the very start of the section, we could fly over to here very, very easily with a spin dash. Unfortunately, there's an invisible wall, and we haven't quite figured out how to get past it yet, but maybe someday. Bouncing on those little platforms will send me higher into the air, and also pull in some rings. Doesn't matter too much, but it can be a little helpful. Let's land on that. Little more infinite parkour. No hidden springs there, just gotta know when to jump off. Looks like Rhythm wants to tag along for the ride.
Is it Rhythm's time to shine?
No, it had its moment.
That's it, no more.
It will never be used again.
It will never come back.
Just wait this out. Now, fun fact about the boss fights, they don't actually immediately start. Sonic has to be stationary on the ground for a little bit before they kick in. Usually that doesn't matter, but it's helpful here, because the way this works is Zavik is going to do the slowest punches in existence, I say as I get hit, and then we kick him to break his guard, and we deal some damage, and wow, we knocked him off screen. And so it's useful to get behind him at the beginning, because that way he has less distance to run. Just jump up here as he spawns in some lasers. Not a great way of dealing with this, because if you knock him back too far, then he just hits the lasers and does that. Stunts him for long. Oh my gosh, we got the triple! Where are you, buddy? Okay, there we go. Now he's gonna knock off 3 of these, as he does the slowest Naruto run in existence. And let's get on.
He is trying.
And here we go. Pearhead!
This is the Pearhead strat.
Dang it, he's facing the wrong way. Turn around, Zavik. What? Okay, fine. This fight could be a little jank. This gives people a lot of trouble casually, because the way it's meant to work is you knock him back until he starts teetering, and then you have to fully charge your homing attack. And fully charged in this particular encounter takes like way longer than anywhere else in the game, so usually people will try to hit him too early, and he'll just immediately parry, damage you, and start guarding again.
And that's the game done, right? That was the sixth world, Deadly Six.
Zavik is never coming back again. Oh, what's this last one? Well, it's just got to be a fight against Eggman, right?
Yeah, Eggman.
Yeah, I'm sure these 3 cutscenes will explain it in excruciating detail. I wonder what we could possibly be fighting here. Okay, I'll drop the bit. Yes, welcome back to the boss rush. They did give these bosses new mechanics, new abilities, yada yada yada. But second verse, same as the first, man. They just die in the exact same way.
I'm pretty sure the best part about this is the Knights DLC is literally just the bosses again.
Yeah. Well, they have a knight skin, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, Zomom's back, best character. He said the line!
Round of applause.
Zomom hype! Okay, we'll just bully him a little bit, and he's going to burrow into the ground, so let's direct him into the lava.
Ouch.
Okay. I'm so sorry, Zomom. So sorry that you died in like 3 hits. It really should have been 2. What?!
Oh. Spoke too soon.
Remember how I said I might need a 3rd? That's never happened before? That's never happened before.
You know what? No, I'm feeling generous. You're permitted the 3rd one.
Thank you for giving me the 3rd. Thankfully, this stage does not take long. It can barely be considered a stage. Maybe that's my punishment for not killing Zomom in 2 hits, you know? The game just decided to dunk me into the lava, no telegraph whatsoever.
Well, he says the line again.
He does! Line's so nice, he said it twice.
For the fans.
For the fans. For the people.
And
Okay.
get to burn him in lava again.
Yes, nice tenderized Zomom. Okay, I'm not gonna push anything. The game is gonna let me land. Okay, hey, there we go.
Ooh.
Amazing.
And his Fruit Ninja.
Fruit Ninja returns. I attribute that death to Zik, by the way. Just more fuel to the fire. That is my hatred of the Fruit Ninja. And the old man is dead. Not coming back ever again, this time for real, I promise. Zavik may or may not. We'll have the rest of the Deadly Six soon, but it's time for everybody's favorite water level. This one is like 50 times as hard as the last one. This is kind of a notorious difficulty spike. Lost World is a weirdly difficult Sonic game, kind of. Like, if you use the wings, it's stupid easy. But stages like this are a nightmare. The jump there avoids an automation trigger, which lets me jump here and get another 3D and 2D. But unlike last time, I have to actually use the Z-axis because this level introduces insta-kill minecarts. So I'm going to jump out, then jump back in. I have to be very precise with how much I tap the stick, otherwise that happens. You know, just had to show it off once.
Yeah, we just had to demonstrate it.
Yeah. There are actually 2 3D and 2Ds this time around. The second one is not really guaranteed. Getting this first one is like very easy. It should always happen. The second one, not so much. Remember how I said it should always happen? That one has actually happened before. Don't worry.
Alright, well,
Yeah.
I was willing to give you the pass, but...
No. We don't need it. I'll accept my failures on that one. So, if we got the 3D and 2D, we could just kind of jump over things very quickly. Hopefully we'll get the second one, because it is a cool trick. I like to show it off. But I guess for now, we can show off the gravitational acceleration. Sonic Frontiers can never. This is not a call-out post. It is just a cry for help.
We'll have to see how that
Should be good there. Okay, there we go.
Right, very nice.
Very nice. We get to enjoy C-bottom segue a little bit more, so it's fine. Like I said, if you hit a dash pad, it's ideal to keep that speed going as long as possible, so that's why I refrain from jumping. And the reason I double jump is, if you space out your double jump 1 frame after you release your initial, Sonic will fly way higher into the air. I'll see if I can get it here. Okay, I went so high that I got hit by the flames again. Cool. Very cool. It's such a good song, man.
such a great song for such a terrifying stage.
Yeah, we've got that second 3D and 2D coming up in just a moment. We've got to play on the green rails for a little bit first. Also, take note of those doors closing. That will be relevant later in the level. Alright, now I will focus for the second 3D and 2D. It is a lot harder than the first, if we can even get it. I'm optimistic, though.
Yeah, I just have to see.
Ah, I didn't get it. Alright, that's fine.
That's okay.
Let's see, I will be silent as I focus through this, but we do have time to read out a quick message or two if you'd like.
Wonderful, thank you very much. We do have a $5 anonymous donation saying Sonic Lost World doesn't get enough love. And, I mean, I don't know the community, but I love the game just after seeing it once. So, yeah, does it really not get enough love?
Like, feel free to join the Lost World community. We're always looking for new runners. This game has had a pretty interesting history, though. It released in 2013, of course, and people actually ran it, and they got really good at it. There was active competition, videos being uploaded without input viewer, of course, because it's 2013. But there was no, like, centralized community. They just kind of posted videos, as far as I know, or maybe used, like, the Wii U messaging system. And that's how it remained for a few years. Darkspine Sonic had a pretty high-level run at a big marathon in like 2014 or so. The game released on PC in I think late 2014 or 2015, and then the game just started dying. And I think like 2017 was the last time the main original runners were active. Since then, there's only been like one other really notable one, Sanman, a Korean runner who currently holds the world record, by the way. Very, very talented runner. But there's still like no centralized community, no documentation of tricks or anything. And then, kind of mid-2021, me and a group of friends watched a streamer play this game, and we were like, wow, this doesn't look good casually, but good gosh, is this a sick speedrun. And from there, we just kind of started getting together and trying to revive the game. It's done pretty decently. It's still not huge, but there's a pretty decently active community. Alright, this stage is pretty difficult, but it also has some very sick movement, so we're going to be using the bounce attack quite a bit. We'll have the hover wisp come into play, parkour, of course, and it's probably worth explaining the general structure. We have an outdoor 3D section, followed by an indoor 2D one, and at the end of the 2D, we have a boss fight.
Oh boy.
We're going to fight Xena, we are going to fight Zor, and then we are going to fight Zavik in that order. My homing attack apparently does not want to lock on, so we'll see how many hits this takes. Okay, there we go, not too bad.
Many.
Yeah, not too many, not too many. That's like probably the only really hard member of the Deadly Six to fight in this stage, and the only reason for it is that your homing attack will always do a pretty significant arc when it locks on. And the devs very much knew because they just scattered spikes all over the place above it. Ah, I didn't quite get it. There's a pretty cool kick that you can do there, but I grabbed the ledge instead. That's fine.
I believe here is where we get to use another wisp.
Yeah, we're gonna have the hover wisp come into play in just a moment. Just gotta scale up here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Lost World is really a game of threes. 3 bounce attacks, 3 revs on your spin dash, 3 bosses in each of these boss rush stages. The way hover works is I can hold down the run button to start floating into the air, or I can press the left trigger, the spin dash button, to do a quick dash forward. We will see hover again pretty soon, but for now, bye-bye.
There he goes.
Get up here, and a fight against Zor.
It's an emotional fight.
It's very emotional. Once again, Zor is not much of a threat. The worst thing he does is that little dance, and that is why we're staying at the edge of the platforms. If we stay at the edge, even if he lands on the one we're on, he won't damage us. And by timing our double jumps, we can just accelerate up the platforms very, very quickly. Alright, this is actually some kind of difficult wall running, just because if we go too high, then the camera changes. I'll go for this spring. And there we go, we're good.
Very nice.
Spin dash past these. Unfortunately, I turned Sonic slightly too much to the side. In Lost World, you can turn very, very well if you're rolling. If you're running, Sonic will come to a complete stop.
Hey, Parrot's back.
Parrot, let's go! Okay, we'll just climb up here real quick, homing attack onto that. And we'll have the Hover Wisp in just a moment. Here we go. Like I said, you cannot die from direct damage while on hover, so I can pretty much just fly up this lava fall risk-free. The movement isn't particularly hard, even if you don't have hover, but it just makes it a lot faster, a lot easier. It is RNG which direction Zavik is going to end up here. Thankfully, he ended up on this side. If he ends up on the other, you just charge spin dash and go over to the other side quickly. Sometimes he can make it up there. Okay, time for that Bowser comparison to be apt.
Hey, look, it's Bowser.
He's a big boy. The way this works is I have to bounce tack to knock one of these down onto Zavik, and you're supposed to climb up as you do it and like drop the blocks on him as you go, and it's very tense and climactic. However,
Very
well,
tense.
yeah, it's very tense indeed. Apparently you can knock down two of them at the same time. No. There are enough blocks up there that you can just get them all without climbing up at all. Okay, Sonic, fine. Don't charge your homing attack. That's chill. Okay, there we go.
We love Sonic.
If you have seen a boss intro cutscene once in a stage, you are free to skip past it with the A button, but that can mess up their behavior a little bit, as we saw there. I've seen Zavik, like, just knock down two of the blocks as he descends. I don't even know how that's possible, but the game said, yeah, we'll make that happen. 1, 2, 3, and for this last one, 1, 2, I want to knock down 2. That's fine. Okay, there we go.
And he's gone.
He's gone, and I would say never to be seen again, but you know, he's the poster child of villains now, so he's back. Alright, that is the last main level in the run. We just have a final boss against, surprise, surprise, it's Eggman! And this is kind of a reskin of the Sonic Colors fight. It has an amazing soundtrack, and it does not have difficult gameplay, so I'm just gonna put the arms up if you'd like to relax. Yeah. It's another auto runner. Remember to stretch, chat. Hydrate. I don't have any water on me, but I would otherwise. That's fine. I'll just play it one-handed from here. He's going to try to crush us with his arms. No biggie, no biggie. Okay, now I do actually have to move the control stick. So, the worst part of this fight is I have to get 3 lock-ons here. See how I got 3? It's possible to get 2. And if you don't react properly, and homing attack anyways, you have to take an entire extra cycle.
Oh boy.
Okay, I've got to listen for a groan. There we go. You need to get something like 6 hits on Eggman there, or I mark it with 6 pings, but you won't always get that when you like just charge your lock-ons normally, so if I don't get enough, I'll drop down, then jump back up, and that seems to increase the amount. Anyways, if you do that, then you'll get the like 2 cycle fight. 1 cycle, 2 cycle, I'm not sure which. His attack pattern will update and you'll be able to kill him in just a moment. Which you actually have to do for the time trial, so I guess it's intended. Okay. Almost there. Get that homing attack?
Time's coming very short.
Yes. It's not on the final hit, it's when I advance past the last result screen. Just mash the A button and get ready for that time. Team Eggman's blasting off again. 3, 2, 1, and there we go.
GG.
That is time.
Great. Good run.
Thank you. Now, fun fact about Lost World, the audio bounce is horrible, so I am going to pause that right there before the audio blasts out your eardrums. Just do us all a favor. I guess some quick shoutouts before we end this all. Just thank you all for watching for one, and thank you for donating to this charity. Let's see if we can get up to $7,000 soon. We're almost there. Almost at $6,500. Thank you to Sly Sonic for commentating, joining me on commentary.
It's been an honor.
If you'd like to see more Lost World, I stream fairly regularly at EU-friendly hours over at twitch.tv/GordinRamsay. Gordon is spelled with an I, Gordin. And, yeah, that's about it. Thank you again.
Thank you, GordinRamsay, for that awesome run. Thank you, Sly Sonic, for the commentary. And, yeah, with that, this is the end of my first hosting shift of this event. Thank you very much for having me, and we will be back with Cyberpunk 2077, run by Yisk, after a quick intermission.